Hello, EJK here. I decided to, in order to get some better VODs, to copy some people's streams. This first victim is Polt, and he's going to be playing a TvT for us on, what is this map called? Prion Terraces. So, a lot of people are having a little bit more than a little bit of trouble with the TvT matchup. It seems almost coin flippy at times, and you might not know why you won or lost something, or why you lost or won something. So, the importance of this video, I want to be stressing for the rest of the game, is how Polt utilizes different techniques in order to secure an advantage, which he then turns into a win. So I guess the main point of this video is to learn how to play TvT, obviously, but more importantly, uh, a more general concept of winning with an advantage, which is what we'll see Polt do here. And the advantage doesn't even have to be very large. It can be something as simple as scouting information. For example, Polt has seen his opponent has gone for a Marine, and he has the double gas in the factory, so he knows that his opponent's choices are limited. The Reaper is also going to be obtaining additional scouting information as well. And yeah, it's I don't want to talk too much about Polt's build because I did write it down to the best of my ability. Polt also isn't the kind of player you'd want to generally copy builds from because his macro isn't the sharpest. So things are not going to line up very naturally. But for the sake of understanding his build, I copied down the beginning part of the build order. So Polt saw a Hellion right there with his Reaper. Missed that a little bit. It's all good though. Uh, he's not really he doesn't really have anything to fear right now because he's going to have a Cyclone on the way. And I think this is the build that I've seen him do a lot in the TvT matchups. So this is kind of like his go-to macro build currently for the matchup. And it's a pretty safe build, getting that second barracks early on and then being able to get that Cyclone as well. And he doesn't go immediately up to a starport. And I think his reasoning is because he has the Cyclone, and that provides a lot of anti-air support. So he doesn't necessarily need the starport very early on, because his objective is not to do a push, it's to be very defensive. He's the one who took the faster command center, and so he's the one who needs to defend it against the incoming aggression. So the Reaper on the other side of the map right now, it's quite unusual for Reaper to get this many kills. And the reason why it's getting so many kills is one, because the Hellion died. That Hellion's usually alone. The Hellion's usually, if you do like a Widowmine drop, you usually have a Hellion or two to sit back, unless you scouted your opponent going for a fast expand, in which case you can pull your Hellions and do a full frontal attack. And the other part was the that Polt saw that there was no army on his opponent's side of the map. There was nothing chasing away the Reaper. And so that only left one other option of his opponent was doing a drop, which we see get cleaned up very easily here. Polt having that Cyclone and more than enough Marines to deal with the drop as well. Being able to clean that up very handily. And at this point, and his Reaper also gets even more damage done. And he manages to keep the Reaper alive out of all things as well, so it gets to return for a later scout. And Polt's all about gaining an advantage with with um with mostly scouting information, scouting where his opponent's army is, scouting what kind of build his opponent has done. He has a very reactive style, and it relies a lot upon scouting information that ultimately plans the later steps of the game for him. So right now he's playing relatively passively. There's really, I like to call this the part where he is nonchalantly macroing up. There's nothing he needs to do to be ahead at this point. He is already ahead. He has scouted everything that his opponent is doing, and so that really leaves very little to think about at this stage of the game right now. This Banshee without cloak, trying to catch Polt off guard. He did not build a turret, but he's been saving up scans. And if he did have the Cyclone alive from that a little bit earlier micro, I'm sure you can keep the Cyclone alive. He was just a bit sloppy with that. It'll clean up Banshees very fast as well, so he doesn't need to have that second turret at his natural to feel safe when he has a lot of other tools to clean up Banshee play. So now Polt's going into his kind of middle stage of the game, taking that third command center, starting it. So he takes his third command center, he scans his opponent, he sees his opponent is doing a 5 racks build, so he knows that his opponent is going to be pushing across the map, trying to get some drops in. He's not going to be taking a third base. And this medevac here, I really like how Polk squeezed out that single medevac. It can be used for a number of purposes, the most common one being harassment style, and then scouting what your opponent is doing. However, Polt uses it for something else. So I'm pausing the game here again, and we need to take a look at the minimap really quickly. Wish I could blow it up. But the third base is here, the one that Polt is going to take. And so I want you guys to pay careful attention of where this medevac flies around on the map. Essentially, he's going to take the watchtower. The medevac's going to come around here. He's going to leave a marine there. He's going to leave a marine there. And then he's going to send, I think, one more marine to the watchtower. So in this direction. And it's a very specific direction and a very specific time in which he is starting to, as I would like to call it, quote unquote, light up the map, where his map vision becomes completely insane. So one marine over there, and now this speed medevac, he's taking advantage of the faster speed the marines can have by themselves. Puts the marine there next to the gold base. Oh, and then he puts another marine, I think, next to that gold base. I don't quite remember. I should stop guessing ahead. Okay, there's another marine over there at the, yep, third gold base, and then he's going to send this marine to the watchtower. So in a matter of about a minute, he has lighted up the map, and now he is harassing with this medevac. And it's not even, I can't really even call it harass. It was more of a run by scout with the speed. And he sees the 5 barracks are completed. He didn't see a third command center either. And he sees the army moving halfway across the map, so he knows now that the army is going to be on his side of the map, so he can send the medevac to do a nice little counterattack as well. Now all Polt has to do is defend this attack, and he'll be in a fine position. And he's not really in a rush to try to break this. We don't see him pulling SCVs. We see him very calmly sieging up the tanks and creating a stalemate situation against his opponent's marine tank army. That drop there, that drop is very important because not only is it able to offer additional counterattacks, it also forces this Terran player to keep more of his army at home. And unfortunately, he mismicros that and overextends. Polt's able to clean up the 2 siege tanks, and this is essentially good game because Polt now has come out on top with a third command center against his opponent's 5 racks, and he also has a larger army advantage as well. Not to mention, he also has an insane amount of map control. Medevac's coming back over there, but he has both of the watchtowers, and he has both of his opponent's third bases scouted, so he knows his opponent is not taking a third at all either. And that's what makes Polt's TvT and all of his other matchups so extremely strong, is exerting map control and his army positioning as well. We see him do very unique things that other players don't really do. Like, of course, we see players take the watchtowers, but we don't see them take the watchtowers in a unique way like what Polt demonstrated this game. And now his mid game is going to consist of getting the second factory, taking a fourth base, but good game is called, and that will wrap up this short little video. I have some more Polt VODs that I will get to eventually. I just need to find the time to do everything and do the work, but hopefully this will help you guys understand, at least give you a beginning part or a beginning build order to work with in the TvT matchup if you are struggling. Until next time, see ya all.